That is actually a myth, and if you make the argument that raising the minimum wage to $15 would just overall impact small businesses, a blanket decrease in their productivity, the jobs that they offer. Number one, there is no proof that overwhelmingly small businesses are impacted by minimum wages like that. It's just not there. There are lots of other factors for why small businesses suffer during certain times of economic problems or economic distress. Most have little to do with the fact that they have to pay their employees a certain number or a certain amount of wages. The first thing about that is if you make that argument, you're not understanding just how complex inflation is. Inflation is never simply about wages increasing and then automatically that means prices increase. That's a very narrow-minded understanding of how economics, the economy, and inflation actually operates. There are multiple causes for inflation. There has never been a direct connection between if the minimum wage is increased, that means prices will automatically increase, and that means the minimum wage is pointless. Again, there's really no direct correlation to that. That is, again, also a very faulty understanding of impact, cause, and effect of economics. Traditionally speaking, if you look at the federal level, so if you take the federal unemployment level over, let's say the 1930s, when we have our first standard minimum wage laws, the minimum wage does not directly result, raising the minimum wage has never directly resulted in a dip or an increase in unemployment. That's a very unfounded argument. There's really, I'm trying to think of, there's no proof actually that will happen. That's a cultural assumption, and it's very incorrect, and it's actually pretty offensive because that's assuming that people who are working minimum wage jobs might not have any motivation to want to better themselves beyond that job, and we all know that's true. There are plenty of college students who work in minimum wage jobs. There are plenty of people, single parents who have to go back to school or whatever. But this idea that just because you're in a minimum wage job and someone gives you $15 an hour, that all of a sudden you're going to stop trying to move up or, even moving up within the corporate structure that you work for is just, it's not true. There's no real proof for that. Obviously that's not true because plenty of people who go to college have to work minimum wage jobs, and they definitely do want to do better, but that doesn't mean that they should have to live at poverty levels while they're doing this. Single parents, people who might live in towns where there aren't many options. Just because people are bound by certain circumstances and do a particular type of labor doesn't mean that they should not be able to live or make a livable wage based on the type of work that they do. That's a very dangerous and often offensive assumption to make, that someone's worth is tied automatically to the type of labor that they do, rather than the fact that they're a human being and they live in this country and they deserve to be able to eat and pay their bills and other things of that nature.